American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life when the words all come down.
Welcome to another episode of
American Timelines.
I'm Amy, and that's Joe.
And we are back with another episode, and we finished, finally, after 13 episodes, we finished 1950.
Yes.
And I can't believe it took that long. I have a plethora of information. My goal for 1951 is to not be so lengthy. I don't have as many things. I think it'll be quicker. It'll be more succinct.
That's what we say every time. But
we do say that, and that never happens. What am I talking about? But we are so lucky to have another guest this week. We just started having guests this season. It's kind of new to us, so we're still trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out how not to offend them and have them storm off and throw the mic down. But we are very lucky this week to have the creator and host of Hey Riddle Riddle and the man who also plays Chunt, the talking badger on the podcast, Hello from the Magic Tavern. You can find him on Twitter at Adal Rifai. Please welcome Adal Rifai.
Ooh, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed Bing Bong.
It's all right.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, American history. I really enjoy the
Riddies and Puzzies. Sorry.
I love hearing we just finished 1950 as if it's a book you both put down.
Yes.
It is
wow,
kind of.
What an exhaustive book.
It is. What we do is
there's a lot of
exhaustive.
minutia.
Yeah, we dive into the minutia. We talk about everything. I guess because our marriage is at a standstill, so we have to talk about it. Well, we've talked about everything, so we need to just pull everything out of the 50s. Perfect. And we started this podcast as a true crime / history podcast.
Yeah.
/ pop culture, and we I don't think we ever realized what of a downer it would be once we got into really history. So we're in the 50s now. We're in the 60s. The 60s just like the 80s and 90s. We went backwards. We started with the 90s and we did 80s, then 70s.
Yeah, you Benjamin Buttoned history.
Yeah, and it was fun, man. And then when we got to the 60s and the whole civil rights movement,
it kind of got a little bit down.
And sad and down. And then the 50s are even worse because it's like what
it
caused.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the secret is, here's the little secret, everyone. Kids listening close. The entirety of American history, the underpinning of all of American history is very sad. Very sad, very depressing, very bad.
Yeah, our tagline of our podcast is now, everything fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like everything everything, the history of everything sucks. Like everything is built on awfulness and hatred and terribleness.
Also, just circling back from a minute ago, Amy, if I get another pet, I think I'm going to name it Minutia.
Oh, nice. I think I like that.
It's such a fun word to say.
It is. I love that word.
Yeah, that was one of the first reviews we had from somebody. It was like, boy, you guys really dive into the minutia. Oh, okay. We'll take that as a compliment.
I think the first review Magic Tavern got was like, "Are you guys having fun? That's all that matters." And it's like, "Oh, cool."
That's a great review.
Yeah. You know, Adal, that is something you said. I took a podcast workshop from Adal, and one thing he said, because I think a lot of podcasters just wonder after a while, like, what am I doing? Should I be? What is this? Is this good? Is this even funny? And you said something about if you're having fun as an improv professor, you've told people, if you're having fun, the audience can't help but have fun.
That's right.
And even though you're kind of joking with that, I think that's true, and that's real. So then we just decided, who cares if anybody listens? We're having fun. You know?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I definitely stand by what I said. I think it's just when other people say it to you, of like, we're like,
right.
I've gotten off stage for improv shows, and people are like, "Did you have fun up there?" And it's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, good." And it's like, "Oh, yikes."
I'm glad you're having fun with it.
But I definitely stick by the secret of improv, which is I've never seen people on stage having can we curse on this?
Yeah.
I've never seen people on stage having like a goddamn blast and it been a bad show.
The only time I've seen, though. Please.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Because God is intertwined with history, of course. God created the world. God created the 1950s, and 1952. We skipped 51.
That's right.
But yeah, I feel like the only time there's like really bad improv is when it gets sweaty, or when you're trying to pander, or when you're whatever that might be, or when you're not enjoying yourself with whoever's on stage because you didn't surround yourself with the people you enjoy. So or you're being a person that others can enjoy. So So yeah, I definitely stick by that.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I know I had some friends that were really into Hello from the Magic Tavern, and I hadn't heard of it, and they were bugging me to book you guys, and you guys came to our theater. But before that, so I tried to listen to it, but I listened to it like in the middle of, I think you were in season 3 or something, and I just turned it on. I was like, "What in the fuck is happening? What is this?"
That's the proper response.
I just felt like I was like, what am I missing? Like, I'm on the outside of something. I was like, I don't get it. Why are they laughing? I don't even understand. So then I went back to the beginning, and I got mad. And I was like, I feel stupid because I don't get this. So I stopped listening to it. I didn't talk to that guy for a while. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this because I can't. I don't want to admit that I don't get it. And then he convinced me. He's like, no, you got to go back to the beginning. See, he's a talking badger and he's magic and all that. And I was like, oh, well, when you tell it, it sounds funny. But I must have got like right in the middle of the ones you guys just kind of jumped into something. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the beginning and I couldn't stop listening because then it built. And then I was there with you guys the whole way, kind of thing. So, so then I became obsessed with podcasts and having to listen to them from the beginning and all that. So anyway,
very cool.
But anyway, I love it, and you guys are hilarious. And I got to see your live show, and you guys came, and I got to meet all 3 of you guys. And so I have a million questions, but I'll try to just sprinkle them in so we can get started and get through. But thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and this is blowing my mind too because the 6 degrees. Like I think you're like the Kevin Bacon of podcasts. Like you can probably relate. Everybody can relate back to Adal Rifai and podcasting. Something.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because I have a cool band.
Oh, and you have a cool band with your brother.
And I married up.
You could probably relate every podcast back to so-and-so was with Paul F. Tompkins and that, and was with Adal Rifai and Hello from the Magic Tavern or whatever. Because our good friends Ryan and Chris were on our podcast. They were our first guests this season.
That's right.
And they had Erin Keefe on their podcast, like episode 3, and she was on Hey Riddle Riddle with Adal Rifai. But now that you're on this with us, it's 1 degree, baby.
It's
1 degree, baby.
It's like the human centipede of podcast relationships.
I don't know
Joe. Now my mouth is sewn to your ass.
It is? Your mouth is sewn to my ass? So I'm the front of this feed, or are you on the front?
I'm going to be in the front because there's no way I'm the middle one or the end one because those ones, they really get the shaft.
Well, yeah, I don't want to talk about this. We're going to jump in. On that note, we're going to jump into 1951, everybody.
All right, let's do it.
Let's just jump in.
The year of the first human centipede.
Yeah.
Before all this remake bullshit, it was Rock Hudson and Elizabeth Taylor starring in Human Centipede.
That's right. She had pearls on.
I didn't realize that.
Directed by Jack Lemmon, yeah.
Jack Lemmon directed it. That's hilarious. Well, so at the beginning, Adal, you probably don't know this, and Amy, you barely know this, but when we start a new year, it usually takes like 13 episodes to do a whole year. We go month by month. But at the beginning of a year, we start with a bunch of shit that I couldn't find dates for exactly when. So we just start with a bunch of shit that 1951 was the year for. So I got a bunch of random things I'm just going to spout out. And Adal, feel free. There's never a time when you saying something is bad. Like just whatever you want to say or react to or interject.
But keep the racial slurs down to a minimum.
Just do racial slurs. And
no concern there at all.
And now that you've taken the Lord's name with vain, I guess feel free to keip going with that.
Well, there is no God, so I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable taking that name in vain because it's all fiction.
Right. Yeah. It's a fairy tale.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a quick quiz for you guys. We'll see who gets closer. I want you guys to guess what the price of 1 pound of ground beef was in 1951.
Buzz. I'm going to buzz in.
You're going to buzz in? Okay.
So 1 pound of ground beef in 1951, I'm going to say was 28 cents.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
That's a good guess. Well, is it though? It might be.
I'm going to go with...
Do you guys know how much a pound of ground beef is today? That's a good. Honestly, just a good quiz.
I think it's like $3 or something.
Yeah, it's not that I'm out of touch. I just don't buy ground beef.
Yeah. I don't either.
How often you buy ground beef? But this is how you measure time.
Yeah.
With it's like $3.50 to $4, depending on where you are.
I'm going to say it was 42 cents.
42 cents. You guys are both low. You guys both went low, but Amy's closer at 65 cents.
Okay, it's not as impressive now.
It isn't because you guessed it was cheaper even.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, 1951 wasn't as bad or good as you thought, depending on how you.
It's curious to think about if, and I don't know if there's any way to like quantify this, but I've thought before of like in the 1950s, which is apropos, or probably even earlier, did beef taste different? Because I've read somewhere that they said like fruit over the last 100-some years, like fruit, the taste of fruit has changed, obviously because of how we grow it and the different variations of seeds and what's survived and what hasn't. So it's always interesting to me to think of like, oh, if fruits and vegetables taste change, like what about beef and chicken and all the stuff that we kind of pump hormones into, and how much has that changed the flavor of it?
I bet it tasted unbelievable. Like when you see a 50s thing, everybody's eating meat and potatoes, and they're the guy's beating his wife and then eating the meat or whatever.
What was on the
you're describing Bing Crosby.
Yeah, Bing Crosby. Basically, this is all I picture Bing Crosby with everything that I talk about.
On the Family Guy when he had that cigarette and donut sandwich. It was something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned potatoes or fruits because I don't know if you mentioned potatoes, but I skipped a fact. I deleted it, so I might not be saying this right. But they said something like because like food changing over the years, potatoes have lost 100% of their vitamins. Vitamin A. Their vitamin A, I guess they used to have.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Since 1951. Like 1951 is when they started losing there, which I don't know how you measure that. Some of these facts that I get, these random facts, are from popculture.us, which sometimes is wrong. So
I can imagine. Not with that.
Anyway,
not with that URL.
We tried to fact check it.
Okay, super glue was also invented in 1951. We now have super glue in the world.
And that stuff, getting it on your fingers is the grossest feeling.
Worst. It's a panic. Isn't it a panic?
Oh, you can't get it off.
You're like, oh, now I got to wait for this to dry, and please don't put my fingers together or I'm screwed.
It's like you
please don't touch my penis.
Jeez.
I'm realizing now that I would not survive 1951 because I've never cooked ground beef and I've never used super glue.
You've never
used it?
No.
You're missing out.
So maybe you would survive because you don't need it. You would have survived before. Yeah. You don't need super glue. Well, didn't you ever see is it the Hulk when he cuts himself and he puts super glue on the wound?
Oh, you're right. I have used super glue because I watched the Hulk.
Because you watched the Hulk.
Thank you for closing that gap.
Well, let me tell you some more things about 1951 that don't fit into a date. Did you know that every receipt at every store in Taiwan, starting in 1951, it still is supposedly to this day, every receipt from every store is a ticket for a government lottery with top prizes worth over $300,000?
Oh.
It started in 1951 to combat sales tax dodging by businesses.
That is brilliant.
So I told my buddy Brian, who lives in Chicago, by the way, he works for the American Medical Association, and he was an actor there. He was on Chicago. What's that doctor? Chicago Med?
No, Fire.
He was on both.
The Fire
he was on both.
Oh, okay. Chicago
he always
Fire.
plays a fat guy. So anyway, he won't mind that I say that. But he goes to Taiwan all the time for business. I was like, hey, did you know that your receipts are? He's like, I got like 12 receipts in my wallet right now.
It's funny
because he didn't know that.
Taiwan even sounds like I won. Like
I
won. Like if I won, I'd be like Taiwan.
That's right.
Oh my God, Taiwan.
I would not have thought of that. That's funny. The school board of another thing in 1951. The school board of Logan, Utah.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is. Somewhere in Utah. In 1951, they forced 7th graders to get tattoos of their blood type in case they were injured during a nuclear war.
What?
Yeah. So all 7th graders.
Was it like a tramp stamp?
Yeah, I think it was a tramp stamp. Like
I gotta imagine. I mean, 1, this is horrendous. 2, it's kind of funny. What was it? Does it say if it's specifically like Mormon based, or is it just like this? Because I can't imagine a school making that choice for the kids and the families.
Yeah, I didn't.
Especially after World War II and the use of numbered.
Well, they said there's people now that were in 7th grade then are like in their 80s now. Like they still show their tattoos, like they got an A or O positive. Or
in defense of the school, now that I'm chewing on it mentally, in defense of the school, it is a great way to learn your ABCs.
It's true.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm just wondering, like, it depends on where you get the tattoo too. Yeah. Is it on, like you said, tramp stamp? Is it on your butt? And can you like you used to say
A B C, A positive, A negative, B positive, B.
Well, it could spell anything if you're careful. Like if it A-O-A-A-O, like Tony Danza, if you put an A on one cheek, your butthole's the O.
Ooh.
A-O.
There you go.
Or Bob.
A-O.
You could spell Bob.
Yeah.
If you're part B, if you're B.
Or is B one, or is it just AB? I'm so dumb with
I don't even know the blood.
I don't
Well,
know.
I don't even know my blood type.
I don't either. Anyway.
I have to imagine if you're injured in a nuclear blast.
That's the last thing.
Quick, check his ass.
That tattoo is gone, as
that's
as
true,
is
yeah.
most of your skin.
But that's just the sad thing. Like, think about it. Everybody's life was just preparing for a nuclear war.
Yeah.
They thought then that it would just be nuclear war from now on.
Right.
There would just be different bombs all the time. Like, they really thought that was going to be the thing. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anyway,
it's crazy that we were preparing and scared of a nuclear bomb, and then we inflicted it on another nation.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we're the
insane.
ones who did it. That's exactly it. Oh, it's terrible. Another thing in 1951 that I couldn't find the date for. I didn't try really hard. If I really tried really hard, I probably could have found this. But Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah.
He intentionally left his money clip behind at a restaurant, and then a lady returned it to him, and he thanked her, took the money out, pocketed the clip, and gave her all the money.
Ooh,
Sweet.
Was it? This must be like the origin of. Have you seen this TV show? It was popular maybe 5 years ago. I don't know if it's still going. I'm sure it can't possibly be. But there was a
How I
show
Met
called.
Your Mother?
What was it?
How I Met Your
Yes,
Mother?
that's what it was. How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, really?
It was Hank Williams. No, it was called
Ruined
What
the
Would
joke.
You? I think it was called What Would You Do? And the whole
Oh, yeah.
premise of the show was like we're gonna have somebody in a park like shoving an old man. And
Yes.
we're gonna film it. These are both actors, and we're gonna film it and see who intervenes, who walks by and ignores it, who stops to like gawk or film it on their phone but does nothing, or who So it was just a fascinating study of human behavior, and it sounds like Hank Williams invented it.
Maybe he invented it. Yeah. I always feel terrible when I watch that show because I feel all these people that get caught like not acting and just you just watch. Why didn't you help this woman who was being raped? And he's like, I guess I'm a terrible person. I guess I'm a piece of shit. I don't know. Like, and then sometimes it's like kind of the situation's kind of wonky. It's like I don't know if I would enter. I don't know if I would. Maybe I'm a bad person.
Right.
And then I start feeling bad about myself.
So it's probably a bad thing to.
I think it's like
watch
part
that.
of 2020 or something.
Yeah,
What would you
there's
do?
definitely. I mean, yeah, I like to think that I would step in for most things, but I've definitely seen like someone yelling at their kid or something, and I'm like, I don't really have business because they're not hitting them; they're just yelling, and I'm like, they're yelling, and
like, maybe this is the fourth thing that kid did wrong. You know?
Yeah. And the kid is 32, so maybe
right,
they deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of lived one of these things just yesterday. I tried to take my dog. We got a 9-month-old dog. That is, she's a lab schnauzer mix, and she's adorable. But her name's Minutia. Her name's Weezy.
Minutia.
But she is. I took her to a brewery. There's a brewery I can walk to from my house, and I took her to the brewery for the first time just to see how she interacts, with people. And I get my beer to go, because we're in a pandemic. I got a mask on, So I thought I'll take her with me because they let dogs in. I'll get my beer and I'll go just to give her, just to see how she does. And she was terrible. Like she got away from me, and her collar came off, and she started running. And number one, I walked in this brewery, and I was like, what the fuck? It's just filled with people not wearing masks. And I'm like, what is happening? What are you doing? It's a fucking... No wonder the pandemic's never ending, you assholes.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, here I am with them, but I'm getting mine to go.
That's right.
But
you're getting, I believe rednecks call that a road soda.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but everybody just audibly gasped when she got away from me and started running around.
Yeah.
It was, oh, no. And then nobody helped. Like, I just chased this dog through this brewery in circles for like 15 minutes with nobody help. Everybody just watching. And I'm like, what? What would you do? You wouldn't help me get my fucking dog. One guy held a potato chip finally outside, and he came to her, and then she stopped, and it was all good. We're safe. But it was kind of like what would you do? And then I knew that not only are you fucking assholes here without masks and continuing this pandemic, you also wouldn't help somebody with their fucking dog.
Seriously.
I was at the other day. I was at a store, and I went up to the cash register, and there was a wallet on the whatever near the register, just near me, and I was like, oh, and I picked it up, and I'm like, oh god, is this the person who was just ringed out? And the cashier's like, oh, it must be. Oh shoot. And so I'm like, don't worry, I'll catch him. So I grabbed the wallet and I sprinted out the door. And I raced around the parking lot, kind of holding it up, kind of frantically being like, anyone? And then finally, I saw someone like getting into their car, and I was like, "That's the only person with kind of just now getting into their car to leave, so it must be them." Because I missed the person by, I'm sure, 10 seconds or something.
Yeah,
they were ahead of me, so I vaguely was like, "Oh, there's a coat in there somewhere." So I'm like, "Oh, I think you left your wallet." And the cashier, is this yours? And they took it and opened it. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, this is mine." And I go, "Oh, good. I'm glad I got it to you." And the guy just goes, "Okay." And then he like drove off, and I'm like, I don't.
What an asshole!
I'm like, I don't expect a reward,
but just a thanks.
But maybe a simple like, I don't even need a full thank you. Just shorten it to thanks, and we'll be on our way.
Like you really did.
Like you really ran out there and tried to hunt them down, and that's so rude.
Well, then I thought, did you even verify that it was there? It's like,
maybe I should.
What's the name on your license?
I didn't want to. I felt like I probably shouldn't open it.
Well. Yeah, that's hilarious. One thing I left out is I was about to pay for my beer, and I couldn't find my credit card, so I had a handful of my corporate company card and all these cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when she got away, I just dropped my wallet and my credit cards all over the bar and took off after this dog. So that's the other thing. 'Cause all my shit was just laying there, and and nobody took it. So I guess that's good. But anyway, that's crazy. Man, that guy didn't even say thank you. What a dick.
Right.
Okay, 1951 also introduced us to the world of Tupperware parties.
Nice.
Although Tupperware products were available in 46 and 47, the parties didn't start till 51, allegedly.
Do we know what Tupperware stands for? Is it like...
Ooh, that's a good question. Tupper.
I have no knowledge of it, but I feel like it's like... maybe the material is like tuaprine, and it's like dinnerware, when they combined is like a portmanteau of those two or something.
I bet it was invented by Bob Tupper or Larry Tupper.
Yeah, probably.
What do you think?
Probably
Somebody named Tupper.
That is a phenomenal last name.
Yeah, it'd be great to know. But there's no way to find out. So
my name is Little Jackie Tupper, and I'll be your opening act for this dinner club.
My grandma invented Tupperware. I don't know if have you ever heard of Dixie Longate?
I've heard that joke name, yes.
No, it goes in somewhere. It's a drag queen who is the...
Oh, that's right.
Year after year, she is the top Tupperware salesperson in the world, I think.
Ooh.
Because she has perfected... She has a live show that she does, and she goes on tour across the country and does live Tupperware parties. Mm-hmm. And so she's got a whole show she does, a live
It's pretty funny
show.
too.
She's a drag queen. She's hilarious. She's a comedian.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she hands out forms and people order Tupperware from her. So
that's smart.
She's like always number one, and it's Dixie Longate's Tupperware.
Are you listening, Girl Scouts of America?
That's right.
That's what I can do it.
It's such a fascinating subculture of like Tupperware and Avon and that subculture of like 1950s parties and like these communities of I'm sure mostly women trying to like figure out a community and then like make like a side hustle. It's all just fascinating. And I know they used to give I think for Avon, didn't they used to give like a pink Cadillac to the top salesperson?
That was Mary Kay did that.
Mary Kay. But
That's
right. whole I would love to, if there's a book out there, I'd love to read a book on that whole subculture.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that murder. What's that murder show that's on HBO about those gifting tables? Is that a similar thing?
Oh, right.
Maybe it's not.
Murder in the Bayou or something like that.
Murder. There's some murder thing where the mom was murdered. His kid's mom. He's in college, and his mom was murdered. And his parents were divorced and estranged, and the dad's kind of a weirdo, so I think it might be the dad. But then she was also part of this gifting table thing, which is like a pyramid scheme that like housewives do. It's like,
I thought it was like a Shel Silverstein ripoff.
Right.
The gifting table.
The gifting table. That's what I thought it was until I watched the show. But it was, I mean, if you like true crime and murder things, like that's one of the better ones you've made me watch.
Which it's since we can't remember the name of it,
Yeah,
it's really
I guess it's
helpful
not that
for everybody here.
Whatever it is.
I'll just Google, I'll image search Bayou Murder and
That's right.
pray for the best.
It's not Bayou Murder at all. It's
Malibu.
Malibu's in it.
Something with Malibu.
Malibu
Murders.
I don't know.
I don't either.
We're terrible people.
All right.
Okay. Another 1951 thing. Did you know that the initial standard for compact discs, because they were starting at compact discs this early, 1951. Really? The initial standard for compact discs is to be able to hold 74 minutes of audio. And that was made so that one disc could hold Wilhelm Furtwängler's recording of Beethoven Symphony No. 9 from the 1951 Bayreuth Festival.
Jesus, that's boring.
Or maybe they weren't starting compact disc this early. They just wanted it to hold that. I just wanted to say Wilhelm Furtwängler.
Okay, I get it.
I don't know if you
I
guys
can
know
see that.
him.
Is this the guy who invented the Wilhelm scream?
No, but we're going to talk about the Wilhelm scream.
Ooh.
Because I think the first movie that has that is coming up. Oh, I don't know if it's in this episode or a future one, but I had never heard of the Wilhelm scream.
I don't think I know what
But
it is.
dang, Adal, you are a genius.
Thank
You know the Wilhelm scream. Do you want to tell Amy what the Wilhelm scream is?
Yeah, I mean, I've known about it since high school, but I don't know a ton about it. It's just a specific scream. It was like an actor or a vocal actor or something who had this great scream that was like, ah, whatever it is.
It was a man
Yes.
screaming?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they've used it
and
oh, sorry.
They've like Joe's saying, they use that one clip of a scream in like 500 different movies. Where it's like at first they did it out of necessity, where they're like, we need a scream, but none of the actors can produce it, or we don't want to put that vocal strain on them, so we'll just insert it. And then maybe around the 80s or late 70s, it became a joke or like a tip of the hat to like those who came before. So like Spielberg started to use it, and these other people. And I think that was for like a lot of movie sound effects. Was there was just this library of like, you want a gun sound? Like, here's the 20 different types of gun sounds for your war movie. Mm-hmm. And then I think, speaking of Spielberg, I think Spielberg and maybe Lucas started a thing where they're like, you know what? Never again. For the new Indiana Jones, no more of this same gun sound. We're gonna record new sound effects for our movies from this point forward. And then the industry kind of shifted, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's I can't even replicate the scream. But if you heard it, you'd be like, I've heard that scream before.
Yeah, you'll just know you've heard it. Yeah, so somewhere I was doing research, and that's either coming up in this episode or a few. But in 1951 was the first movie that used that, I think.
Okay.
That's why I thought maybe you mentioned that. But also, J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye was published in 1951.
Nice.
Oh.
Are you guys familiar with Salvadore Dali's most scandalous photo shoot?
Was it The Women in the Shape of a Skull?
Yes. Do you know what that's called?
No, I have to assume it's called like the giraffe internalizes his mommy issues, or it's got to be something insane.
It's called the
tomato paste orgasm or something.
Voluptus mors, which means voluptuous death. So, do you know what this is, Aim?
I'm gonna look at it real quick.
Here's how you would know it: is that I guess in Silence of the Lambs they have that like the movie posters that is Jodie Foster's face, and it's like the bee or the whatever it is, and there's a skull on it.
Yes.
That skull is inspired by this Salvadore Dali photo. So basically, Salvadore Dali took a bunch of naked women and formed them into a skull.
Oh, I see it.
And I don't know if you should be using your work computer to look at it, but anyway, naked chicks. But this is 1951 is when he did it. So he teamed up with Magnum photographer Felipe Halsman to create one of the most enchanting, morbid, and bizarre photographs of all time. The black and white photo stars an array of nude women, expertly arranged to resemble a macabre skull. And Dali himself stands next to the literal human skull, quizzically eyeing the viewer like some sort of dubious ringmaster. So
I think for as wild as Dali stuff is, and like I do enjoy Dali's like surrealist stuff. To me, the most impressive thing in the world is if you ever see Hieronymus Bosch paintings.
Yes, the Garden of Earthly Delight.
Yeah, those paintings from Hieronymus Bosch, because I think he was in like the 1400s. I don't know when he was alive, but the year he was alive, to think that he painted that long ago is wild, because the paintings look like they were made in the 80s or something. Like the amount of like weirdness and like. There's one painting where it looks like there's a croc, like the sandals. It looks like there's a croc in it with like all these weird creatures, and you're like, this is probably a print from like 84.
Yeah,
but it's like no, it's from like 1468.
Yeah, how could it possibly?
It's wild.
Be? So let's jump into dates.
Do you want me to?
Oh no,
go since mine doesn't really have a date.
Amy, this is a weird thing. Amy's story. I don't know what it is. We don't share each other what we're going to say with each other, so we're kind of get genuine reactions, but. you did tell me that your story doesn't have a date. So before I do, and I only have a few dates, so let's jump into your story.
So I'm going to talk about the history kind of the Yeti or the Abominable Snowman.
Oh, the Yeti and the Abominable Snowman.
Yes.
There was a sighting in 1951?
Yes.
Okay.
So my sources were IndiaTimes.com, an article by Arka Roy Chowdhury, and NationalGeographic.com, an article by Simon Worrell.
Okay. I might have to look at how you spell those, but that's fine.
So known to inhabit the Himalayan region of Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet, the Yeti or Abominable Snowman is mostly a myth. However, if legends are to be believed, the Yeti could be real, and history has proof of its existence. The mystery of the Yeti dates back to 326 BC, when Alexander the Great set out to conquer Indus Valley and demanded to see a Yeti, having heard stories. But unfortunately, he was unable to see one.
I demand.
Yeah. So what makes the belief in the Yeti so strong? It's the Yeti footprints that were photographed by British explorer Eric Shipton in 1951.
Oh. Eric Shipton?
Eric Shipton. So he was a British explorer. He was on the lookout for an alternative route up to Mount Everest.
Okay.
He chanced upon an abominable. Now this is very confusing to me because one of the articles said he chanced upon an abnormal footprint and took a picture of it.
Okay.
Then I looked. I was like, well, why was there just one?
How can there be one?
How can there be
footprint?
one
Hopping?
footprint? So then I looked at a bunch of different sources, and some of them said a set of footprints.
Okay.
And he just took a picture of one of them, and some of them said a footprint like this.
Wait, I know. Was Jesus with him? Jesus started carrying him?
Ooh.
Is that what it is?
Pirate Jesus.
That's
The
right.
one leg. When it was one leg, it was when I was carrying you.
Yeah. So let's see. Where was I? He chanced upon an abnormal footprint and took a picture of it. Thus, the mystery of the Yeti began, and the world took notice. He took the photograph on the Menlung Glacier, located west of Mount Everest. It was 13 inches long and was definitely the most intriguing picture taken on the Himalaya.
So wait, this footprint was 13 inches long. That's it?
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, that's I wear a 12. Like that's
so that's not that big.
Yeah, that's not insane. And
But
I think Shaq's foot is like a 24 inch or something. Like,
Well, it is also formed a little. So
But this is the 50s, though. Weren't people littler, generally?
true,
Yeah.
I
but
don't know, maybe not that little.
it looked like it looks like a human footprint, but with a thumb. So you get that primate-like feeling, but kind of hominoid at the same time.
Okay.
So the media went crazy once he took this picture,
Because of the foot thumb?
and because it was so big and it just wasn't it was obviously not human.
that's a
And he was real.
It just, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
Well, he
still
was a real
doesn't seem that big.
respected. Go ahead.
Oh, please.
Go ahead, Adal.
Go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say he was a real respected explorer, so there was no question that he was hoaxing or making it up. It's more of, well, what was it? That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I just want to look up how long the average foot is.
I can't get over the idea of someone going to Alexander the Great going to town and being like if I just barged into some town and was like, all right, everyone in town square now, I hear y'all have a werewolf and I want to see it now.
That's right.
Demanding to see a mythical creature, and then the citizens are like, we don't have it. And it's like, okay, I see this is going to be a long night. Nobody wants to show me
That's
their
right.
werewolf. I get it. I'm an outsider. You don't trust me, but I will kill one person an hour until I see a werewolf.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, it's like the first time I went to Canada. I didn't see the kids in the hall anywhere. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't
what's
see-
going on?
Nobody was saying a boot. I didn't see
Right.
Michael J. Fox immediately.
Ugh,
Or who's the biggest? I did have a lot of poutine, though.
Well,
so good.
that's
That's where they get it right.
So good. Yes, that is where they get it right.
gravy on
it's-
French
it's-
fries.
Oh, God, so good. And
It's
cheese
so funny to
curds.
me. I've heard just in the last week, I've heard people be like, Australia, the stereotypical shrimp on the bobby, Foster's,
Yeah.
Canada, poutine, Mounties, maple syrup, and then when people say to America diabetes, cheeseburgers, Americans are like, what the fuck?
I know, right?
You know what the big one was for me, Adal, which I thought was funny. We had a couple guys from Scotland on the podcast. We found them on Podcorn, and the big thing they were like, "Does everybody have a gun? You guys all have guns?"
They think we're all.
They
back.
think everybody's just walking
Packing
around
heat.
with a gun. We're all Yosemite Sam walking around. Like,
I studied abroad
I was like,
and I went to college in Canterbury, England for a semester.
Ooh.
Oh, that's awesome.
And every time it was very fun. And every time someone was like, "Where are you from?" and I was like, I wasn't living in Chicago. I was living in like Central Illinois, but nobody knows Central Illinois. So I would just say Chicago, and they're like, "Oh, Chicago, bang, bang, bang," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Bang, bang, Capone." Like, how many guns do you have? And I'm like, 0.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
It's
They were they were surprised that we, especially living in North Carolina, that we don't have guns. Like no, I don't even own one. Never shot one.
Shot one, yeah. So the oops, sorry about that.
You're the queen of that.
I know. Well, I'm not used to having my laptop. So the Yeti fever took off, and the name for the Yeti in America was given as the Abominable Snowman. The American oil man Tom Slick.
So
Isn't that a good name for an oil man?
Is a Yeti maybe you already said this and I was zoning out, but a Yeti, an Abominable Snowman, and a Bigfoot, are they all the same thing?
No. Bigfoot
Yeti and Abominable Snowman are the same thing.
Yes.
But a Bigfoot is not a Yeti.
Right.
Oh, I would thought Bigfoot
and a
was
Wendigo is something totally different.
What the hell's
right.
a Wendigo?
Don't even get me started on those.
Well, jeez. I got to go back to school, I guess.
Cryptozoological Society school or something. So there were several expeditions.
Okay, sorry.
There were several expeditions
to
find him. And one of them had 500 porters and spent 6 months in the field. They even took along bloodhounds to track the scent.
Yeah.
The World Book Encyclopedia then got captivated by the Yeti and approached Edmund Hillary. He had been somewhat of a believer in the 1950s, but he said, we shouldn't just go Yeti searching. We should study how people live at high altitude. So they built a house at 19,000 feet and did a bunch of experiments on how humans acclimatize. That's a hard word.
That's acclimatize. Is that how you say it, I wonder?
There's part of me that's like, how can one person, Edmund Hillary, who's like a respected, like known as like the best mountain climber of all time, how can people who are like this well regarded, or even like a community of people, be so fucking duped and stupid? And then I think back to the last 4 years, and I'm like, oh, you know what?
Yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
Not so surprising.
Yeah.
Never put it past anybody.
7 million.
Stop the steal.
Right.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, God.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The thing that kills me the most is when they say this is our country. Because they're saying, as white people, it is their country.
Yeah, I might as well just say that.
If you don't like it, leave.
Yeah.
I really want to get back to the cryptozoology. I feel like it would be really cool. I don't have the money to do this, but someone should partner with me. It would be really fun to open a crypto zoo, like that just explores cryptozoology. So it's like an outdoor zoo, maybe with some inside exhibits, and it's just actors in suits where it's like, yeah, there's a little chupacabra over here, here's Bigfoot, there's a big
little Fiji mermaid over here.
Yeah, here's a Loch Ness monster. Like, I think that would be so fun to take kids.
Oh yeah,
they would love it.
I have to admit it might be a little emotionally scarring depending on if the kids know what they're getting into or not, or if you know how the parents play that, if they're like these are real and they always will be. But I feel like that would be such a fun little thing to have in America.
I think they've already done similar, like carnies. Like, I worked with a lady who told me years after working with her, she said, "Oh yeah, I used to be the spider lady at a carnival."
Ooh.
I was like, "You were the spider lady?" Yeah. She put her head like in this costume thing that she was part spider, part woman, and it looked like her head was a
cool.
person. And I was like, "You told people you were a spider woman? People believed it?" She said, "Yeah."
That's
anyway,
crazy.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, so they have those. Or Ripley's Believe It or Not is probably like that. Yeah.
So I just to wind up, today the Yeti is part of Himalayan culture, and one must always be prepared to see its name mentioned in numerous businesses across India, Bhutan, Nepal, and Tibet.
Yeah.
In Nepal, you can book a room at the luxurious Yak and Yeti Hotel and also fly Yeti Airlines. Needless to say that the mystery of the Yeti creature has not been solved completely, but curiosity is forever present in the hearts and minds of young children as well as adults.
Yeah.
Isn't there a children's book that's like Yeti eating spaghetti or something?
That sounds familiar.
Oh,
I think
Yeti,
that's
that
Yeti sounds familiar. What's your take on Yetis, Adal? You believe in them?
Here's the thing. Cryptozoology, any supernatural stuff, I absolutely adore. I love it. I have books. I love
Me
the movies. I love the idea of like, yeah, we all agree that this is like entertainment, but
Right.
but I don't, as much as I love like the supernatural, and I feel like I've had experiences where things got weird. I don't think ghosts are real, or at least I don't believe they're like the outline of a human, right?
Yeah.
Same with cryptozoology. I don't think there's a Bigfoot. I don't think there's anything like that. But I do think there's probably stuff out there that used to exist that maybe went extinct. Some hybrid.
Well,
like
because
maybe
we would have found like poop or a dead one
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
would have fucked it. Somebody would have fucked it.
That's
But
probably true.
oh,
too.
absolutely. But I feel like it's all like this unspoken entertainment. Where even like crop circles, it's like, dying. I found like look at my fields, and it's like we all agree like, yes, look at your fields. Isn't this an interesting pattern from the aliens? Wink, wink.
Right.
And so I think it's just like this fun, unsaid
Yeah.
entertainment that we all try and it's like practical jokes on the nation or on the world, where it's just
Right.
like I'm gonna pretend I was abducted, and those who believe, and that's fun. Those who don't, nothing lost, because true, whatever that is. True believers will see past it. But yeah, I think it's just a ton of entertainment value there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't believe in any of it.
Okay, cool. That's a good take.
yeah,
that's a hot take.
that's kind of how I am too.
Yeah, I would say it sounds a lot like things you say to me all the time. And I think everything is a conspiracy and there's aliens controlling everything. but not the way
Sure. But if
not
I
the
went,
way not the way QAnon says it is.
Sure. But if I went somewhere and they like anytime I go to a city and there's I went to Savannah not too long ago and
Yeah,
there was a
Savannah's
ghost
great.
tour, like a haunted ghost tour.
Oh, I love
we
those.
took that.
I'm like, there's no way I'm not taking this tour. And
Yeah.
again, it's not because I'm like I believe in this, but it's because I'm like I don't believe in this, but I want to see what stories they tell, and I want to hear how they've concocted what's going on, or what.
Well, and
what
for me, it's
proof
like, how do they
give.
tell the story? How
Yeah,
good
yeah.
are they at telling the story? Like, are they
Yeah.
fun? Is the guy just drunk?
Yeah.
But yeah. Isn't that Savannah the one where we took that drunk guy?
We did a pub crawl, haunted pub crawl.
It was a
in
haunted pub
Savannah.
crawl in Savannah,
That's
And there was a guy who was so hammered he couldn't even stand up at the beginning of the crawl.
he was so drunk.
Like his girlfriend had just held onto his shirt and kept him from falling over. And he would like cough, and everybody would back up because they thought he was getting ready to throw up
Yeah,
everywhere.
That's
so
phenomenal.
drunk.
I'm obsessed.
And then at the end of it, he asks this really cogent question. Like the guy's telling us the last story, and then
like,
he
I
pipes
got
up
a
with like,
question.
So did they go in the back door, or? And it was something that made all this sense. And Joe and I
never
looked at
forget.
each other and
I'll
we were
never
like, I'm so proud of him.
so-
He's comprehending
He's
something
come
right
such a far
now.
way.
We were so proud of that guy. We're like, oh my god,
I'm
how
obsessed
great.
with haunted tours to the point of I started to one of my co-hosts on a podcast, Hey Riddle Riddle, John Patrick Cohen, who's just viciously funny.
Yes, he is.
I started to work with him on possibly doing a improvised haunted tour of Chicago.
Ooh.
So we
Oh,
would
that would be awesome.
So the idea was like we would walk around this one sort of part of town, and he would like, say there's 10 people. He would be leading the group, and I would probably be there as a plant or as whatever service. But it would be an idea of like, because every ghost tour does this of like, does anybody know where we're standing right now?
Yeah.
It's always they toss the question to you, and then if you don't know, they'll fill it in. But I love the idea of like, does anybody know where we're standing right now? And then somebody be like, someone died here, and then just the improv being like, yes, someone died here. Does anybody know who? And so it's almost like you're getting suggestions from the audience, and they don't know it. But I love that idea of an improvised ghost tour, because the people who lead those are such a specific personality type, and it's phenomenal. And I'm obsessed with them. So I feel like that would be the most fun character to play. So I hopefully when all is said and done, when the pandemic's over, we can still mount this show, because I think it would be a success.
Oh, I think that
you
sounds
really
great.
should do it. Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Well, with our theaters being shut down, we had to come up with things to do.
Yeah.
And that was one thing we did with only 10 people at a time. We started doing ghost tours of our theaters.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
everybody says theaters are haunted. But we had, like you said, we had like 4 people leading the tours, and we all are completely different how we do them. I was one of them. I had to learn the stories, and I'm more like just telling jokes like, hey, that's where Rob Schneider smoked pot. And this is where, oh, yeah, ghost stories. There's this. But then we had a guy he already does haunted tours in town, and he's that kind of guy. But anyway, it was a fun thing, and that sounds like a genius idea, and you should really do that. And you could probably do it from city to city since it's improvised.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, boom, you can make a lot of money. All right. I'll jump into a few things that have dates. These are just some random things. I don't have a big long story or anything. But on January 6th, the Indianapolis Olympians beat the Rochester Royals. This is an NBA game because neither one of these teams exist anymore. They beat them 75-73 in an NBA record 6 overtimes.
Wow.
The longest game in NBA history.
Wow.
Now, she hates sports, so I always have to squeak these in. Adal, are you a sports fan? Are you a sports guy?
Yeah, I was a massive sports guy, and then around high school I fell out of it, and then just within the last little bit I've picked back up of my love of the NBA, and I've always been a casual Bears fan as well. But the only so I'm fairly well versed in NBA specifically, but I feel like the only Royal I could name would be Oscar Robertson, one of the best players of all time. But I feel like he was on the Cincinnati Royals, so maybe they moved.
Oh shit, you do know that because that's what was going to be why I'm asking this. I wanted to ask you do you know who the Rochester Royals became?
So they must have moved sometime in the 50s or 60s because I think he played. I think he played 60s, 70s.
Yeah, so the Rochester Royals moved to Cincinnati
and
became the Cincinnati Royals. Then they went to Kansas City and were the Kansas City Royals.
And then they were like, let's play baseball.
Yes,
right.
But they still, let me tell you this. Maybe you don't know, maybe you know this, but the Rochester Royals have become an NBA team, a current NBA team. Do you know which team?
I would have to guess the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, Royals, Kings.
Yeah,
I guess you kind of like make that jump. I'm so dumb. I didn't make that jump. Yeah, they are the Sacramento Kings, which I can't believe it. But the Indianapolis Olympians folded by 1953, which is just 2 years later.
Well, they should have. Well, here's the thing, Joe.
Yeah.
They folded because they played a game of 6 overtimes. They should have paced themselves, so they became the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah. Oh, boom! Indiana Pacers. You know, we did that.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers became. So yes, they paced them. Oh, that's really clever. See, that's why he's so good.
That's why I should name NBA teams.
And Hey Riddle Riddle, you should name them.
And that's why there never should have been a team called the Washington Bullets.
Yeah, that was dumb. But I get angry, and I've said this. This will be the 19th time I've said this. I get so mad. I'm mad, and I'm still angry that the Utah Jazz exist.
Yeah, that's
because there's no Jazz in fucking Utah. Like
Doesn't make sense.
New Orleans should have kept that name.
This is turning into the opening of basketball.
Oh, is that what they talk about?
They talk about all the. Well, it's like they do this whole like animated sequence where they're like. The Minneapolis Lakers moved to L.A. where there are no lakes. The New Orleans Jazz moved to Utah where jazz is illegal. Like it's a whole little thing.
Oh, maybe that's where that idea planted. Because I know I saw that because my favorite thing is Al Michaels saying, "Look at these nipples." You know, like just that he said that. So anyway, I had some stuff about this being a long. You know, there were 2 whole overtimes that were scoreless in this game.
Oh my
I have
God.
to imagine
boring.
if you're an athlete, because most athletes, like I just watched a game last night that was the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
and Steph Curry, who's literally changed how the game is played. He's a beast.
Yeah,
and he's
from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because Del Curry was a Hornet.
Del Curry was
that's
a Hornet.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But he played I don't know 32 minutes, or he played like 30 minutes, and then Steve Kerr had to bench him because he's like, I got to rest him. He's exhausted. And that was a 0 overtime game where one of the best players in the league, who's like an absolute tremendous athlete, had to rest for 12 minutes. At 6 overtimes, like, obviously, you know, you have a bench depth, but that is that's nightmarish.
Well, people were just different then. I mean, they probably all were smoking cigarettes on the side.
Sure, it's a lot of like Jim Thorpes who were just like, I can run for days. Yeah,
right. Yes. And then I'm going to jump to okay, I'm going to skip. I was going to say something else that made me think of that, but I'll talk forever on sports mascots if I don't move on. January 8th, 1951. I don't know. Maybe I'll cut this thing, but I found this, and I don't know why I'm even talking about this. Well, then let's
skip it.
I'll skip. I'm just going to skip this one. All right, I'll skip it. Basically, there was a bird they thought was extinct that they found. They thought it was extinct since the 1600s, and it was called a cahau in Bermuda. But Tuesday...
That's all we need to know.
Wait, Tuesday, January 9th, I'm going to do a little something here. I got to add some special effects here, so bear with me. Tuesday, June 9th...
January.
Oh, January. I'm sorry. Tuesday, January 9th.
Okay.
That's right. Amy hates birthdays, but I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Yes.
Brenda Gale Webb was born in Paintsville, Kentucky.
See, I don't hate birthdays. I hate the kind of birthdays you cover.
Okay.
Because who is that?
Well, this is my challenge. I'm going to make a little game out of this since Adal likes riddles. You were like the first one to shout out who this person is.
Okay.
I
wins this birthday.
Yeah, I have to imagine this is like a John Wayne scenario where it's like
it
they were
could be.
born a different name and then they changed.
Yes, that's exactly what it is because most of them are.
But
that's why. Yeah, so I did that song because Amy hates it because I usually pick people that are ridiculous or dumb to talk about their birthday, like wrestlers and stuff.
Yes, pro wrestlers.
But this one I think is a fun little game because there's little clues throughout this little bio as this person was born to guess who it was. And you guys probably will know this better than I would because I was surprised.
Can you repeat the name again?
Yeah, Brenda Gale Webb.
Okay.
She was born on Tuesday, June 9th, 1951 in Paintsville, Kentucky. She was the last of 8 children born to Clara Marie Clary and Melvin Theodore Ted Webb.
What names?
Yeah.
Unlike sister Loretta and her other siblings, she was the only child born at the Paintsville Hospital and not at home.
Is this like Dolly Parton?
No. You're in the right vein. Brenda Gale Webb is first cousins with singer Patty Loveless.
Is it Patsy Cline?
Her sister Loretta makes me think of Loretta Lynn.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know. Maybe. Does Loretta Lynn have a sister?
Yeah, she does. She and her siblings are of Irish and Cherokee descent.
Brenda Lee,
Brenda Gale Webb.
Yeah.
Her father was a coal miner who developed black lung disease.
Coal miner's daughter. What's her name? Well, no, that's Loretta Lynn.
That is Loretta Lynn.
Yep. In search of better medical treatment, the family moved to Wabash, Indiana when she was 4 years old. So this is good. You guys didn't know this either. They lived in a retired miners community, and Clara Webb worked as a nurse's aide, the mom, and Ted Webb died in 1959. From early age, Brenda had an interest in singing. In 2018, she noted that she could sing before she could walk. Brenda Gale Webb, she sang along frequently to songs she heard on the radio, was inspired by the music of her sister, Loretta Lynn.
Crystal Gale?
Crystal Gale!
Wow.
Oh, good.
I was just about they were sisters.
I had no idea.
I feel like I knew that from a long time ago, but I forgot.
Literally the only thing I know about Crystal Gale is that her hair goes down past her butt.
Yeah.
That's all I know about her.
That's up until like 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't realize Shirley MacLaine and Warren Beatty were brother and sister.
Yeah, that's a mind blower, that one.
What?
Yeah, Shirley MacLaine and Warren Beatty.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I always intentionally confuse Warren Beatty with Ned Beatty. So when anybody's talking about Warren Beatty, I just say, you mean Ned Beatty.
I think they are brothers.
They are brothers.
Yeah.
But one's a big fat guy and one was like a love interest. Like so.
Yeah.
I always just say, I think you mean Ned Beatty. And people don't like that.
No.
Speaking of sports, Adal, did you know that January 18th, 1951, that NFL ruled that tackles, guards, and centers are ineligible for a forward pass?
Oh, that's so
starting
sad.
in 1951. That is sad, and I think that's what NFL's missing.
Yeah.
Why can't you pass to the fat guy who goes downfield?
Yeah.
That bothers me.
Well, I guess if everyone is an eligible receiver, the game becomes so sloppy.
Yeah, just throw it to anybody.
And the quarterback could just be crushed. If the entire offensive line runs for a pass, the quarterback is
that's
absolutely
right.
exposed like nothing
so
else.
Maybe that's why they changed that. Maybe they were getting killed too much.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting to the point they're going to have to change something. Like,
it's not like
people
today's
are so
safe
big
NFL.
and fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they get destroyed and the brain damage. So they're going to have to do like a bubble.
Yeah.
Like the quarterback's going to have to be like a big bubble.
Like a Flaming Lips, Wayne Cohn. Like, yeah.
Yeah, or be a robot
bubble.
or something.
Yeah.
Like they're a robot quarterback. I don't know. But and staying on the sports thing for a second, which I know you hate. Monday, January 22nd, Fidel Castro was ejected from a Winter League baseball game after hitting a batter.
Fidel Castro?
Yeah, he was a pitcher in a
That's
it
phenomenal.
wasn't professional baseball, but yeah, and there's a picture of him in a baseball uniform.
Really?
Yeah, he's still got the cigar and the hat.
Outstanding.
But he looks different.
I feel like Cuba is almost like Canada, where it's like Canada, it's like everyone plays hockey. I feel like Cuba, everyone plays baseball. Like,
oh yeah, I don't think you
Baseball.
can.
Yeah.
I don't think you can not play baseball.
I know a friend
True.
who since travel opened up goes to Cuba yearly, and she brings
Really?
just like backpack upon backpack and luggage full of baseballs. Because if
Oh,
you
I
go
thought
there,
you were
and,
gonna say cigars.
no. If you go
Yeah.
bringing into Cuba, but if you go there and you bring just like 400 like rolling baseballs, like
Yeah.
everyone in the city just goes nuts and loves you. Like you just toss them out to the kids.
Really?
wow.
That's what she said,
hilarious.
yeah.
Wow, they love baseball. That's nuts. Baseball is like that. Like, there's people, even here, that I have friends that are just like
Bananas
fucking
for baseball.
nuts. Like, they're
Yeah.
just baseball. And then I used to like baseball. I'll go to a game, drink a beer, but
So slow.
it's
Oh,
so
it's so
slow.
boring.
It's so slow. Like,
No boring.
like we used to live, we lived our first apartment in Chicago was on Waveland and Halstead.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't realize how close we were to Wrigley Field. So we'd go to Cubs games. The Cubs weren't good then, so we went to games all the time.
Yeah.
I
But,
lived
yeah.
as close as you can live to Wrigley Field. I lived across from the VIP entrance where if I opened my window, I could see inside Wrigley Field.
Oh, wow.
And my
cool.
rooftop was one of the stadium seating.
Oh, was
Nice.
it? Oh, man.
It was cool for
jealous.
concerts because I could just open my window and be like, "Oh, I'm listening to Paul McCartney," like I'm there. But it's
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But then I would.
That would be cool.
But in the morning, I'd go to leave after a baseball game, and there'd be like two guys passing on my
Trash
stoop
Yeah,
with
right.
covered in
Yes,
barf,
like that.
and like a woman with one shoe crying.
a woman with one shoe crying. I saw that woman 100 times.
Yes.
Yeah, we were right in between Boys Town and Wrigleyville. So if it wasn't drunk Cubs fans pass out in our bushes, it was the gay bars,
It was
guys doing it in our
Yeah.
bushes, and the,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, mine was. It was a woman
bass
with one
drum.
shoe always crying, and she's always like on the phone going, "Tama, Tama, no."
Oh, I love it.
I've worked with like 3 of those girls. Monday, that was January 22nd. Tuesday, January 23rd were the Emmy Awards. And the only thing I'm going to talk about in the Emmy Awards, besides the fact that Alan Young and Gertrude Berg won for the Alan Young Show, whatever the hell that was.
Oh, thank God they
But-
got their due.
they got their
really.
due. The Emmy Awards, this seems weird to me. They were hosted by Supreme Court Justice Earl Warren.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
He was still a governor of California at the time, I
Oh,
guess.
well,
So maybe that's
then
why. it's
That's a
weird.
little bit.
But
yeah.
still, why would the governor host
Yeah,
it?
that seems
That's kind of
joyless.
weird.
Like, that's weird. Yeah. Okay. And I got 2 more birthdays, but I'm only going to do one to
All right.
cut you. And this is a great person. And I know Adal will have something funny to say. So,
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
now, same thing. You guys get this is a person whose name changed. So, see who can guess this first. Yakov Namovich Pokis was born on Wednesday, January 24th, 1951. Yakov
Smirnoff.
Namovich. Yeah, right. Yeah. So he's born to a Jewish family in Odessa, Ukraine. Then part of the Soviet Union. He was an art teacher in Odessa as well as a comedian. And this is why I kept this in. After 2 years of attempting to leave, he came to the U.S. with his parents because of an agreement between the USSR and America to exchange wheat for Soviet citizens who wished to defect.
It's like a terrible Settlers of Catan.
It is.
Traded wheat for
Okay,
Yakov Smirnoff.
I'll give you 2 wheat and 1 brick for an '80s comedian.
That's right.
In Russia,
In-
wheat trades you.
In Odessa, country give birth to you.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was trying to think of. Like, when we lived in Chicago, we'd sit at the bar sometimes for hours just doing Yakov Smirnoff isms,
The
like where you
formula,
say-
yeah.
yeah, the formula in Russia, blank blanks you.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe you would give us your best ones of those.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a few of those.
In Russia, irrelevant is you. I don't know.
I put you on the spot. That wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
fair, but I just had to keep Yakov Smirnoff. 'cause
If
there's-
you're born in
yeah.
Russia, you might be a redneck. Here's your sign. Get her done.
It's kind of slipping into my wife.
Yeah.
My life.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it kind of is. Yeah.
yeah.
He used to always be on Night Court. I always used to love that.
He was in the Money Pit. He's in like the opening scene of the Money Pit, and it's just like, why is he in this? I don't know.
Is there anything more 80s than the Money Pit?
No.
Not
I
much.
totally forgot about the Money Pit. I remember being so excited to see that movie because Shelley Long from
Long.
Cheers and Tom Hanks from, at the time, Dragnet, I think is probably what he is, or Bosom Buddies.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's all I have for 1951. I have one more birthday, but I'm just going to skip it. But,
In
well,
Russia, you too sings to you.
you just keep doing those, and we'll wrap up the episode. No, that's great, but I'm so glad
In
Adal
Russia,
Rifai was-
rap Well, my name's Yeki Schmear, and I'm here to say. I guess Yak Schmear sounds too much like Pap Schmear, so that's maybe not the nickname he'd go with.
It depends on what he's into.
That's a good thing, I think.
But I guess Pat Schmear leaned into it.
And Russia, Pap Schmear's you. I don't know. Was that what? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for being here, Adal Rifai. I appreciate you. Thanks for starting off a year with us. We appreciate you. We love your podcast. We love that you keep making podcasts. You got any new ones coming up?
Any new podcasts?
Any new, are you making a new one? It seems like you just make podcasts.
Yeah.
But I guess you do other stuff.
I am actually working on something. Do you know when this comes out?
This will be out Wednesday.
Wednesday. I don't think we're announcing it fully yet, but I am working on something with that's sort of a mini series. It's with Aaron Keefe and JPC, my co-hosts of Hey Riddle Riddle.
Yeah.
It's going to be 7 episodes, and we'll be announcing something about it soon. But I think fans of both my or listeners, I'll say, of both my podcasts will hopefully enjoy it.
Sweet.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks for digging. I didn't mean to try to get some exclusive
news,
no, not
at all. And it's nothing one of my least favorite things is when someone is posts on Twitter big news, can't say anything right now. I hate that shit. So I didn't mean to do that, but I'm also I think I'm legally not supposed to say anything until it's announced. And it's nothing too big. It's just a fun little thing.
That'll be fun. That's cool. And I appreciate it. I just love that you're a podcast genius. You have a great podcast voice, and you do some great podcast workshops. Can people sign up for those? Do you have any of those coming up? Because I took that, and I'm telling you, I got so much from that.
Oh,
and
that's
I've already
wonderful.
Applied a lot of it. So thank you for doing that. And it's really affordable. Do you have any of do you have any of those available coming up?
I'm planning on doing more, but I don't know when I'm going to actually lock in a date or anything. So I guess.
Follow Adal on Twitter and follow him. Is there anywhere else to follow you? Instagram?
I guess Instagram is fun.
Yep, and you're also at Chunt with 6 T's or.
Oh yeah. Sorry, let me grab my friend here. Chunt, you want to say something? Yeah, baby. You can email me. I'm a little shapy-shifty, and you can email me at chunt@gmail.com with 6 T's.
Yeah, 6 T's. That's right. Chunt the Talking Magic. Yeah, baby. Bing bong. I always want to say bing. That's awesome. So thanks for being here, Adal. Appreciate you so much. Yeah.
All right, it's time to get out of here.
Yeah, and let Dale through. And please listen, subscribe, and check out. If you haven't heard Hello from the Magic Tavern or Hey Riddle Riddle, you got to check those out. They're awesome. And Adal Rifai is a great person. Thanks for giving us the time.
Anytime.
And check out his workshop. If you're into podcasts at all, check out Adal's. Keep an eye out for Adal's workshops.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
You been down on the streets today? Say now, baby, it's about to get crazy. Everybody's got something.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
In Russia, goodbye is hello. Shit, now we have to start a new episode.
Make me some cookies, bitch.